Hey, Vinyl Community, Jeff here. Just a real quick video. I hope I don't ramble on too much about this whole the debacle that the MoFi situation has brought up. It's all over channels. Everybody's talking about it. Not everybody, but it's all over the place. And while I personally don't own any MoFi, I'm not big into the audiophile movement, this raises questions with me over transparency as well as the digital format. Now, I've always had an issue or question, sort of an issue or question with digital transfers. But now what I'm asking for is I'm wondering, some of you people that are really audiophiles who really know a lot about this, I'd love to get some answers to some of these questions. I want to probe a little deeper into this. I think I might make a call to somebody who is involved in the process. It might can answer some questions that have been kind of, looming in the background of my mind. But here's the thing. So, yes, MoFi sound great. I have heard some. I've never had the money to really get into that. Now, what makes them sound great? That's the whole question. Is it the analog? Are they doing something different here? And then you got the question now where they're saying that, they're revealing that these have been having, they're coming from digital sources versus analog. Real briefly, for those of you who are even less in the know than me, when it comes to vinyl versus CD versus all that stuff. And again, I'm just spouting out what I've heard or learned, not the expert here. Please be kind. My understanding is vinyl can hold a much wider sound range. The wave force has more highs and more lows. Digital truncates that. You have less highs and less lows, so you have less dynamic sound. So therefore, vinyl buyers will say, or vinyl producers will say, that the vinyl record has the ability to hold more of the sound, highs and lows, gives you more of the diversity, more of the dynamics of the song, therefore produces a richer musical experience. Digital truncates that. It's more compressed, therefore it's a little less of the dynamics, therefore a little less of the experience. Now, the more you compress digital, you start making MP3s, you're making it you're losing quality and all that. So all of that is mostly common knowledge. Now, this became a question with me when it comes to reissues, when it comes to bootleg issues. So I've bought a lot of the unofficial releases. And you have to assume, these people have no rights to put these out. So you have to assume that what they're doing is taking a CD and transferring it over there. So they're getting the quality of the CD and they're transferring it to vinyl. So what do you got? You got a CD on vinyl. You still got the experience of vinyl. Yes, vinyl records is more of an experience a lot of times. The putting it on, the dropping the needle, the experience of the big artwork and all that. So there's a lot of that involved too. And so you will buy these unofficial releases, even though, maybe they're placeholders until you can find an OG, or maybe until there's an official release. But for the most part, it's the experience of having the big album, the big artwork, putting it on the turntable. They still sound great. I mean, CDs sound great in systems, so they're going to sound great on vinyl. My question is, when you start talking a legitimate label that is reissuing an album on vinyl, I think there needs to be transparency. I think we need to know what we're getting into. Does it always make a difference? That's the arguable point. Can I hear the difference? Probably not. But here's the differences that I could see, and I could see how this would even apply to the MoFi situation. You have CD quality, and then you have the high-res audio quality. People claim, there's a lot more there. And you see that with digital files. You've got MP3s, you got waves, you got FLAC files. All of them have to do with the resolution, high resolution, whatever. So when a legitimate label puts out, and see, before I get into that, here's the other thing that people don't always understand, or they don't really stop to think about it. When around mid to late 80s, everybody was going digital. And you look at the back of your CDs and you'll see ADD, analog with a digital transfer and a digital format or whatever. But then you start seeing DDD. It's a total digital format. In the studio, it's digital. Everything that's produced is digital, and then it's put on a digital format. If that's the source, there's no analog source. All those albums that come out like that from the late 80s into whenever, There is no analog source, so what are they going to do? There has to be a digital source, but then the question to me becomes, what digital source? If you've got a little smaller label that's getting permission, buying the rights, buying the licensing to put out an album, what are they doing? Especially, and I'm talking just with ones, let's just limit it to just albums that only had a digital source. What are they doing? Are they getting permission to take the CD and put it on vinyl? Are they getting permission to have access to the original master audio files and putting that on an album? Because if it's a higher resolution file, it's going to transfer to vinyl at a much higher resolution. So it seems. That's where I'm saying maybe there's something here that I'm missing and that there's more technical. Maybe that doesn't happen. You start talking about super vinyl and stuff that I'm hearing in the MoFi circles. Vinyl that's actually holding better. I know that these reissues are not that. So then you've got terms like remastered for vinyl. What does that mean? If it's a digital source, do you ever see that? A lot of times you'll have an album that might have been analog to begin with, was released on CD only though, but was recorded in analog, but back in the day in the 90s was only released on CD. So therefore they go into the studio, they take the original analog files and remaster it for vinyl. Is that the assumption? What does the remastering process do? If you take a digital file, are you taking the high-res digital file and remastering it for vinyl, doing whatever you can do to expand the sound waves to fit better on a higher wave vinyl file? Those are the kind of questions I have. What is the source? And then what are you doing with the source? Are you taking a CD and putting the compressed audio right onto a vinyl record? Or are you going to the label and somehow getting permission to gain access to the high-res original digital source and putting that on a record so that you've got a higher quality? Is that what MoFi was really kind of doing? Is they were taking the high res versus the, lower res CDs, which would produce a better quality album, right? I mean, it should. My understanding would be, yes, it should. So that's kind of what I'm wondering. Obviously, I'm assuming unofficial releases are CD transfers. Probably the lowest quality, aside from taking an MP3. I'm hoping they're not taking MP3s and doing that. But they're taking more of a CD. See, this all came to my mind way back in the 90s. I remember one case in particular where it really kind of dawned on me of the difference in the processes. I mean, I was not really caring or in tune with it that much, but Joe Satriani, it might have been that metal show. It might not have been as long ago as I thought. Joe Satriani's new album came out, and he was in the studio, and he was talking about this special edition you could get, and it was a head, his head, shiny, silver, bald, Joe Satriani head, and when you pop the top off of it, it had inside like thumb drives or files that were the highest quality, high-res digital files. And he made the comment, he says, when we go in the studio and we record an album, we hear the original digital format, and it sounds great. And then he says, but then it gets taken and compressed and put onto CDs and stuff. And he said the difference is like night and day. And to him, this CD sounds horrible compared to the original. So you could buy the special edition and have access to the original file. So in my mind, I'm thinking there are high-res digital files and there are low-res compressed CD type files. So the big question is, which ones are being used for vinyl reissues? I'd love to know that. I think to me it makes a difference on the price you pay. If you're going through the motions of getting permission to get the high-res files and you're putting those high-res files onto a vinyl, that's going to sound probably more like an analog high-res, higher wave file vinyl release than if you took a lower res CD quality and copied those files to vinyl, right? That logically makes sense. That's where I'm saying, if I'm totally wrong on here, please comment below, be nice. But that's how I see it, that there are high-res files, and if you put those on vinyl, that's going to sound better. So that would sound better than a reissue that was using low-res files. Is that kind of part of this whole MoFi situation, that they're using higher res files? Because it says from the original sources. Of course, if it says original analog tapes, that's a different story. But if it's saying from original sources, A lot of reissues I buy are smaller companies. They don't claim any of that. It's just a vinyl reissue. So I've always kind of wondered, what am I buying? Again, I'm not an audiophile. It probably doesn't make that much of a difference, but it still is that little nagging question. Are they getting the highest quality possible and putting it onto a vinyl record for us? Or when they say remastered for vinyl, are they taking what quality they do have and expanding the WAV files to the point where it becomes high res and then putting that on vinyl? Am I getting a better quality vinyl record than a CD as far as the WAV files, the ups, the highs, the lows? Is that better? Because the vinyl can hold more. Is it holding more? Or, you know, should we be told, hey, I just took the CD and put it on vinyl for you? That's, you know, that's the transparency I think that kind of would help. And I know that the production of the vinyl probably doesn't cost any less or more based on the source, but shouldn't there be kind of a cost difference? Because if you went to the trouble of contacting the company and getting the original source files, there's probably costs involved to that, and should mean that the album would cost more. But if you're just simply getting permission to take the CD or low-res audio files and put them over there, less costs involved, you would think you could pass that on to the consumer. Just my thoughts, rambling on. This is a poor man's look at the MoFi / digital format. I'd love to hear your words. I do want to do some more digging into this, and I do have one source I can contact that can answer some of my questions, and I'm hoping maybe he'll be up for that. So we'll see. But yeah, tell me what you thought, your thoughts are. I know it's a big controversy. I don't want to get into the controversy. I'm not a MoFi person, but it brought this to mind. So share your thoughts below. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with some records and CDs and all that, and I will see you then. Rock on and rock hard.